And what they did was they created this. Hello, thanks for joining me. I'm in the Scottish city of Perth. This is the River Tay, and in today's video we're going to go and explore a 1920s garden which is said to have plants from all over the world. In the last video I started on this bridge. We could see this bridge and we walked up there, up Kinnell Hill, and we went to find a castle that looked as though it should be on the Rhine. So today's video we're going to see plants from all over the world. Now this bridge, if you had seen the last video, you may have noticed I pointed out a train. Well, it's not just pedestrians that use this bridge. Trains come along here as if on cue. Couldn't have timed that better. There's a train coming. That'll be going to Dundee, I expect. So look how close we are to the railway. Can really feel the bridge wobbling. So as the Class 170 heads towards Dundee, so that will go along beside the River Tay. It won't go over the Tay Bridge, but it'll run beside the Tay. In fact, it'll go under it and past the Tay Bridge. I'm going to continue on here. When we get to here, this is an island, Moncliffe Island, and towards the end of the last video we could see the other end of it. It doesn't go very far that way, it literally ends just there, but in the other direction it goes quite a long way. Eventually becomes a golf course. I have had a look down there. I've been as far as the golf course, but I can see the end of the golf course from the other end of the video. So what I'm going to do now, I'm not expecting any more trains to come along. I'm going to walk down there. Let's go and find Branklyn Garden. So here we are. I have arrived at Branklyn Garden. This is my National Trust passport. Just got the stamp. So we're going to go and explore the garden. The garden was created by a couple called Dorothy and John Renton, and they lived in this 1920s house here behind me, and what they did was they collected plants from all over the world and they created this amazing garden. It's not a huge garden, it's only 2 acres, so it's not going to take, it's not somewhere you need to spend all day, but somewhere you can spend a couple of hours exploring, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's go and explore the gardens. The house isn't actually part of the National Trust visitor experience. I like it though, it's how it's preserved. You don't see many houses like this. Unfortunately, so many of them have been demolished and replaced with more modern houses, so it's nice to see one that survives. The gardens are down here. So once they built their house, they wanted to create a garden, and they had a hobby of collecting plants and flowers from all over the world. And what they did was they created this. This is the really quite beautiful Branklyn Garden. It's got a rather large rock garden here now. Rock gardens became quite fashionable at the time. I actually had a tennis court here first, believe it or not, but it was more fashionable. It became more fashionable to have a rock garden than a tennis court, which I think is quite funny really. So let's go down and have a look at the rock garden. You might be able to hear water. We'll go and have a look at that. I'm just going to let you look out across the garden there now. Today, the weather, it's been raining, it's not raining anymore, but it's created quite a special atmosphere. An atmosphere I think is nicer than if it was a bright sunny day. At the bottom of the garden here is a pond. We could hear the water flowing down, so we'll follow this up and see what we can find. Always love a garden with like waterfalls and where you can walk across little streams. I just find the sound of water so relaxing. Look, they've got all those waterfalls going up there, and underneath these Japanese maples. Okay, there is a road the other side of that hedge, but it still feels really nice and calm and just a relaxing place to be. You can just stare at the maple leaves like this. And then stare out into the gardens. and then turn back on yourselves and have a look at the water flowing down, a series of waterfalls. When I was little, my grandparents had a garden. I had something a little bit like this, waterfalls flowing down, and I always was fascinated by it and always said one day I'll build something like this myself. I'm yet to do that, but maybe one day. And they had a rock garden, and I always used to plan to build a model railway around it. That never happened, but yeah, I had a lot of fun. So it's nice to see rock gardens and how they came into fashion, and people perhaps of the generation of my grandparents would have sought to create similar gardens to this, just perhaps on a smaller scale. Over there, behind the house, I think the house is a holiday cottage, so you could stay here if you wanted to. There is a tea room, so you can sit up on this terrace and continue to enjoy views over the gardens. But I'm going to have to wait to have my cup of tea because I've got all these gardens to show you. There's quite a lot to see. There's numerous paths, and I could spend all day exploring these paths. I just love how there's so many different paths. You could probably do a few miles of it just for trying out each path. Here we are, another rock garden. What I think we'll do though, we'll go up to the top of the garden where the terrace was. It almost possibly gives the impression I'm the only one here. I can confirm I'm not. There are other people here. I am to a certain extent deliberately trying to avoid the other people, so because I don't want to disturb their visit, but also it just makes the video feel really, it does feel like it's just me walking around here. Look at these, you can just like look at the leaves and the water just on them. And then if I put the camera inside, you can see looking up inside. And whilst I really sort of enjoy a walk in the British countryside, seeing all the British plants, you'll see, and I find that very relaxing. It is just as relaxing to visit somewhere like this and see all these plants you wouldn't see, even if they do. This one's literally just soaked my arm. My arm brushed past it, and all those water in the leaves all just fell off and made my arm wet. But that's all part of the fun of it. We're now at the top of the terrace. I'll give you a view looking down there. You can see the city of Perth in the background. The River Tay is just down there, as we saw at the start of the video. So if you would like to visit, it's not too far to walk to. It's probably about a mile from the city centre. No, maybe not quite that far, half a mile. It's a nice walk up here. I enjoyed it. Now let's walk along this top terrace. That's a bit more of a typical plant you'd see in a British garden. Some roses, it's nice to see. And if you look, there's one solitary bee, I don't know if the camera's picking it out, just happily, flying in and out the flowers. And I like gardens where you kind of come to a pocket like this. So you've got this little grassy area up here. There's not a lot of grass at this garden, has to be said. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. Another one of my favourite plants, wisteria. It's not really the right time of year to see wisteria, but look, there's a sundial in this little, let's call it pagoda of wisteria. That must look nice, but you get to see different plants flower different times of years. We're going to go and now have a look at the rhododendrons. There's quite a lot of those to see, and of course, rhododendrons are a funny plant really, because they're not good if they're growing in British woodlands. They're not native. They're invasive. They spread everywhere. They can be quite acidic, so they stop other plants growing. So if I go out for a walk in British woodland, I don't like to see them. But here, in a garden like this is where they're very appropriate. It's where they belong in this country, and at the right time of year, they do look amazing. And just look at that. It's just so many different colours. Let's go and have a look through the rhododendron gardens. Which says rhododendron on it. I think the main rhododendron's Latin name is Prunus laurus. No, that's laurel's Latin name, isn't it? Slipped my mind what, but there'll be more than one Latin name for rhododendrons because there's more than one species. If you look, just turning around, I can see various species of rhododendrons. So like I say, in the right place like here, it's appropriate. So yeah, it's quite an amazing variety of plants. There's over 5,000 different plants here. And then as you look over there, it sort of reminds you, over there, it's the real world, suburb of Perth. In the last video, Kinnell Hill, which I mentioned at the beginning of the video, that's kind of above us up here. So you could do both if you want to. You could walk to here, if feeling energetic, have your cup of tea here, and walk on up the hill, going for another forest of rhododendrons. And then out into another opening. Look at that amazing flower. And you could just sit up here, just enjoy the views. It's a sort of garden, I think, if you visit, the thing to do is visit, you walk around it, have a cup of tea, walk around again, because you won't take everything in. It's like now, which way do I go? Going down these steps, there's a path running across. It's such too many choices, but spend all day here and just do them all. That looks quite inviting going that way, but I want to go down here because this is the Himalayan part of the garden. This is like a ravine, the Himalayan ravine, this part of the garden is called. And as I pointed the camera then, if you felt it wobble, that was because I slipped slightly on a step up there, but anyway, that was my fault. Continue on through more rhododendrons, and I believe we're going to find some Japanese plants down here. There's really plants from everywhere. This is, I think this is the extremity of the garden here. Oh, look, there's a little hedgehog's house there. See that? Hedgehogs live in there. I'm not going to disturb them, see if they're in. They're probably asleep, so I don't want to, interfere with them. That's sort of the back of the garden. The compost heap area. We'll go down here now. This tree here, this is a Japanese tree, and I've been told in the autumn it makes some really nice smells as the leaves change colour. We'll go down here, and I'm gonna go up this little path up here. And as I walk through, just look at that. I'd be tempted to stop and sit on that bench if it wasn't wet. And now we'll walk back up the hill. And you just come to these little pockets every now and then, just somewhere you could sit. When a lorry's not passing on the road, it is like really relaxing. Which way? That way? Or that way? That way looks inviting. So does that way. If we go up here, the reason I'm choosing this way is because we go up higher, we might see more views. The thing is with me is, as much as I like a garden like this, I also like going out and about too much. Soon if I did have a garden this big, whether I could make it look this nice, I don't think I could, because I'd want to spend too much time going out and about. But it's great that people do create these places, and it's great that we can come and visit them. Let's go down here. The path does continue that way. Let's go down here, and then that will soon or later we'll be back to where we started. There's a big that tree there. That's a cherry tree. I think it's a Tibetan variety, so it's not your usual cherry tree. It's like, let's spot the bits of grass you can find here. Look, there's this isolated lawn of grass just there. So there's only been about 3 bits of grass, but like I say, it's a great garden. Oh, we're here again. We were here earlier, weren't we? It's that second rock garden, the slightly smaller one of the rock gardens. So what we'll do is we'll walk along here, and I can see ahead of me the tea room. I think I'm being led. It's time for my morning coffee. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you down here. That's where we'll finish the video. That's where I get my coffee. Every now and then you get another little path going up there. I think we walked along there earlier on, so we'll continue down here. I'm trying to today, some of the time, just not talk and just let you see the views. Look at this tree here, and just to give it away, we are in Scotland. You've got these lichens growing on it. It's a sort of place, so like I say, there's lots of colours, numerous different plants and shapes, sounds. I can't show you them on camera, but lots of different smells. It really is a really nice garden. We're here again. We have been to this part of the garden before, the part, you know, where there's quite a bit of grass. So don't have to do a lot of grass mowing here. I'll stop joking about the grass. I just find it funny because probably with the exception of Gladstone's land in Edinburgh, this is probably the National Trust place with the least amount of garden. Oh, and a tenement house in Glasgow. Least amount of grass rather. Anyway, tea room's over there. I'm going to go and get myself a cup of tea. I'm going to leave you with the fountain, the sounds and the sights beyond. So thank you very much for watching. If you're in Perth, do come and visit Branklyn Garden. It's a really nice place to just spend a very relaxing couple of hours. Of course, you're a National Trust member like I am, you get in free. So yeah, it's a really nice place to come and visit, get your stamp in the passport. Thank you very much for watching. Please do feel free to like, subscribe and comment from Branklyn Garden.